Now that was pure talent, wasn't it? Ye Lim Kim performed this for the event An Evening with the Champions in the year 2023. But today's focus isn't on Ye Lim Kim, nor the event. But then what? It's on those ice skates. How many of you guys love to ice skate? Comment a snowflake emoji if you like it. While many winter sports are modern inventions, ice skating is not among them. It's one of the oldest winter sports. The sharpness of the ice skate's blade is so precise that they can be used as a surgical tool. But have you ever come across the thought of how these are manufactured? How do they carve it into that shape? Is it actually possible to carve out these skates in bulk manually? How do they make the boots sturdy yet comfortable? All these questions might have to come up in your mind at some point, right? Well guys, it's showtime and we're going to peel back the layers on how ice skates are made in factory. Before we step in, kindly like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more such interesting videos. Before we get to know how these ice skates are made in a factory, how about we take a journey to the roots and know its history? Ice skating has existed more than 1,000 years ago and has become a beloved recreational activity and a means of transportation. Before the modern inventions, the blade of the ice skates weren't made with steel. But then what was it made of? The blades of the ice skates were made from the shank or rib bones of elk, oxen, and reindeer, and then strapping them onto the boots. It was during the 1800s the popularity of ice skating skyrocketed. Lots of skating clubs were open in London, Vienna, and New York. Rinks were built in Toronto, Canada, and Davos, Switzerland. Did you know that in 1876, the first artificially frozen ice rink called the Glycerium was opened in London? During the 19th century, the sport of speed skating was introduced and classical dance theory was applied to create the sport of figure skating. Since we're done with the history of ice skates, let's quickly move to see how this is manufactured in a factory. Ice skates are constructed of leather, nylon, plastic, steel, and various other synthetic materials. In most cases, the raw materials are purchased from outside vendors. The ice skate manufacturer inspects the leather hides closely to ensure that the skins have been cleaned and tanned to the company's specifications. Did you know that kangaroo leather is one of the popular skins used for figure skates? Knit nylon and molded plastic are commonly used for hockey and speed skates. The leather and nylon are specifically treated for water resistance. How about we jump to step 1 of the manufacturing process? It all starts with cutting. The leather or nylon is fed into a cutting machine that stamps out 8 standardized pieces. Well, why 8? 4 is for the boot lining and 4 is for the boot upper. A similar machine cuts pieces for the tongue, sole, heel, and support sections. These pieces are then mechanically punched with a date code, size, order number, and eyelet holes. The boot is then sewn together on industrial sewing machines that the factory workers regulate with either foot pedals or control pedals. A special stiffening material called the counter is added around the heel and arch for ankle support. Comfort is our priority in any footwear, right? Well, therefore, the manufacturers add a foam padding and reinforcement layers with cement before the lining is stitched to the upper. Excess edges are trimmed, and a line of top stitching provides additional support and decoration. The eyelet placket is also reinforced by means of a strip of leather, and the tongue is lined with sponge rubber, then tacked first to the lining and then to the boot upper using cross butterfly stitch. Once the boot is partially built, it goes through something called mulling. That's when heat and moisture are applied to the leather, making it soft and flexible so it's easier to shape perfectly. Now the boot is ready for shaping. A perfect fit is important for any boot, right? So the boot is stretched into a plastic mold shaped like a foot. Since every detail of a foot matters, there are over 100 size options for women, as well as almost 60 for men. First, an insole is tacked onto the last. Then the boot is pulled tight by hand over the bottom of the last. This process requires a bit of attention to the details as the boot may get wrinkled. The worker must make sure that all wrinkles are eliminated, working from the arch to the heel, then from the arch to the toe. Tacks or cement are pasted to the arch, heel, and toe to the insole. The tacks holding the insole to the last are removed, and the boot is still stretched over the last is placed into a drying chamber. Heat is applied to set the boot to the length and width of the last. A worker then removes the last from the interior of the skate boot. The boot is placed upside down on a peg under an electric grinder to remove the leather finish from the boot bottom. The grinding process causes a crevice to form across the middle of the boot bottom where the foot's natural arch occurs. Did you know that this crevice is packed with a synthetic filler and an 18-gauge spring steel arch support shank? A leather or rubber sole is then attached to the boot with a urethane-based cement. Next up, the heel is constructed by gluing square stacks of leather or water-repellent fiber board on top of each other. The height and width of the heel varies with the type of skate. The heel is glued onto the boot, and then 6 to 10 long nails are driven through the heel, outsole, and insole. Finally, the heel is trimmed and smoothed. The sole and heel plates of the blade are lined up with the sole and heel area of the boot bottom. The worker eyes the placement, making sure that the blade is centered on the sole. An equal amount of boot bottom should be exposed at the toe and heel. The worker then screws the blade onto the boot using a high-speed drill on a foot-powered press. Only a few of the screws are inserted into the boot. The remaining are packed with the ice skates. Why? This allows the skater to adjust the blade as necessary before the remaining screws are inserted and tightened. However, the blades of skates fitted with rubber soles are permanently attached with rivets. The completed skate is hand-polished and sprayed with a solution to make it shine. Laces are threaded through the eyelets. The manufacturing process includes several inspection points. At each point, the supervisor checks the alignment and quality of various pieces. Seams and eyelets are checked for straightness and evenness. During a quality check, the inspector removes the skates which have visual and structural imperfections like loose threads or wrinkles. The skates are boxed for shipping only after these thorough quality checks. Professional skaters are also part of the manufacturing factory as they're in charge of designing and testing the product. From raw materials to a work of art, every pair of skates is a blend of craftsmanship and technology. So the next time you wear an ice skate, you know the story of how it's made. Inline skating shoes have a similar structure like ice skates, but instead of the blade, wheels are fit into the shoes into a vertical manner. Have you ever tried skating using inline shoes or normal roller skate shoes? Comment below your first experience with it. I'm sure it'll be a hilarious story that you guys will be sharing. Well, have you ever thought about how these shoes are made? What kind of materials is used to make this? How do the manufacturers align the wheels perfectly in a vertical way? All these doubts will be answered within the next few minutes, so hang in there and watch the full video to learn how inline skating shoes are made in a factory. Before we start with the manufacturing process, let me tell you a few facts about these skates. These skates were developed in the mid-1980s, but the concept of rolling wheels attached in a boot was discovered long before that. During the olden days, the rolling wheels were made out of wood, plastic, or steel arranged in pairs, but in the modern era, manufacturers use polyurethane plastics to make wheels. Why did the manufacturers switch to polyurethane plastics and not continue with wood or steel? This is because when a wheel is made out of polyurethane plastic, the gliding action of the blade will become the same as that of an ice skating blade. That is, it helps the wheels to smoothly glide in the track without any problem. The making of the wheels starts with the creation of a mold. Every factory will have a mold, which gives an output of perfect wheel size. The workers will mix up liquid urethane, pigments for color, and other special additives, which helps to improve the performance of the wheel. Next, as you can see in the video, the urethane mix is poured into the mold. This is a crucial process as the workers should be quick in pouring the mix because the material starts to set pretty fast. Once poured, the molds go into an oven or curing chamber. The heat hardens the urethane, which gives it a tough, springy texture. Once the wheel is set, the machine demolds and trims the rough edges of the wheel. Soon after demolding, the hole position accuracy is checked manually and the color printing on roller skates wheels is done. As you can see in the video, the bearing accessories, which are made of steel, are fixed to the wheel using the machine. The leather is cut into the desired shape with the help of an automated laser leather cutter. After the cutting of leather, the molds of carbon fiber shoe shells are made. The pieces of leather are sewed together carefully into the shape of a boot. The workers also sew the extra fittings such as logos and designs, which was decided to add during the time of designing the boot. The sides of the shoes are glued with sponge and the upper is stitched together, and that is the final process of the stitching department. The shoelaces are tied and an extra hole is glued to the carbon fiber shell for extra comfort. Then the upper part of the shoe and the carbon fiber shell is attached. The glue is applied to every part of the shoe and it's hit by a hammer to make sure that it's sticking properly to the shoe. The residual glue is cleaned and the shoe is ready to install the tailgate to it. The tailgate and skating brackets are fixed firmly and the wheels are added to it vertically, as you can see in the video. The price tag is attached and the skating shoe is wiped and cleaned. Along with this step, the wheels are checked properly and then the packing process will begin. Just like the ice skates, the quality checking process is the same in this factory as well. Supervisors check the quality of the shoe after every single step, and the defective ones are discarded from the manufacturing unit. Once the packaging is done, the inline skate shoes are ready to be shipped. Now tell me which was the most interesting part in manufacturing both the items. Comment below your answers. Ever wondered how the famous Converse shoes are made in the factory? Check out the video posted on our YouTube channel now. It's so cool.